At some point, changing your mind starts to feel like failure. It can feel like you're quitting, like you're being inconsistent, or like you wasted all that time believing in something that just no longer fits you. But what if I told you that sometimes changing your mind is the most honest and courageous thing you can do? It's a sign of growth, not a sign of weakness. Think about it. We all make plans, we set goals, we build a vision for our future based on who we are in a specific moment. You made plans based on who you were back then. You used what you knew at the time, what you needed, what you thought would make perfect sense for your life. And you know what? Those plans weren't wrong. They were absolutely right for a version of you that doesn't exist in the same way anymore. You were a different person when you chose that career path, when you moved to that city, when you committed to that relationship or that long-term project. You had different information, different experiences, and a different understanding of yourself and the world. It's not fair to judge your past decisions with the wisdom you have now. The person who made those choices did the best they could with what they had. They were brave. They were hopeful. They were trying to build a good life. But people evolve. We learn. We grow, we get hurt, we heal, and all of it changes us. The landscape of your inner world shifts. What once felt like solid ground can start to feel like a place you no longer belong. And that's okay. It's more than okay. It's a natural part of the human experience. Your past self paved the way for your present self to exist, and now it's your present self's turn to make choices. No one really prepares you for this part of life, for the moment when the dream you worked so hard for still looks good on paper, but feels completely empty inside. You look at your life and think, this is what I always wanted. Why don't I feel happy? You might have the job title, the apartment, the partner, the lifestyle that you once dreamed of. But there's a quiet, nagging feeling that something is off. So, what do? We often stay longer than we should. We tell ourselves it's just a phase, a rough patch. We push through the confusion, hoping that the old passion will reignite. You tell yourself, if I just try a little harder, I'll feel certain again. Sometimes that initial spark is gone for good, and trying to force it is like trying to keep a fire alive with wet wood. It just creates a lot of smoke and frustration. This internal conflict is exhausting. You're living a double life in a way. On the outside, you're maintaining the image of someone who has it all figured out. But on the inside, you're wrestling with doubt and a sense of disconnection. A role that you wrote for yourself years ago, but have since outgrown. The script no longer feels authentic. The longer you ignore this feeling, the louder it gets. It shows up as burnout, as anxiety, as a constant feeling of being drained. It's your soul's way of telling you that you're on the wrong path, and it's time to listen. Ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just makes you lose touch with who you truly are. There's a quiet guilt that comes with changing direction, isn't there? It's a heavy feeling that settles in your chest. You start to think about all the effort you already put in, the late nights, the sacrifices, the years you dedicated to this one thing. You think about the expectations you set, not just for yourself, but for others. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, they all saw you as the person who was going to do asterisk, that thing asterisk. You might have even been proud of that identity, and walking away from it all can feel like a betrayal. It feels like you re-betraying the younger version of yourself who had so much hope and determination. You made a promise to that person, and now you're breaking it. This guilt can be paralyzing. It makes you second-guess your own feelings. You might ask yourself, am I just being lazy? Am I scared of the hard work? Am I just looking for an easy way out? The world loves a story of perseverance, of someone who gritted their teeth and pushed through no matter what. We celebrate grit, but we rarely celebrate the wisdom of knowing when to stop. We don't have enough stories about the person who bravely said, "This isn't for me anymore." And so we internalize the idea that changing our minds is a form of failure. We feel like we have to apologize for our own evolution, as if we've let everyone down. But who are you really letting down by staying in a life that no longer makes you feel alive? The only person you're truly betraying is the person you are today. But growth isn't about staying loyal to old decisions. It's about staying honest with who you are right now. Read that again. Growth is about staying honest with who you are now. You are allowed to outgrow your goals. You are allowed to choose differently after learning more about yourself and what you truly need. This doesn't erase the past or diminish the effort you put in. It honors it. Every step you took, even the ones that led you down a path you're now leaving, taught you something valuable. That wasted time was actually a period of deep learning. You learned what you don't want. You learned your own limits. You learned what lights you up and what drains you. Those lessons are priceless, and you couldn't have learned them any other way. Think of it like this: your past choices were the foundation. And sometimes you build a foundation for a small cottage, only to realize later that you want to build a skyscraper. You don't have to tear down the entire foundation. Honoring your past means acknowledging the role it played in getting you to this point of clarity. Thank you for the journey, and now I'm ready for what's next. That isn't failure. That is the definition of evolution. Changing your mind doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're listening. You are finally tuning in to the signals your body and mind have been sending you. You're listening to what no longer feels right. You're paying attention to that quiet resistance you feel when you wake up in the morning, the sense of dread or apathy that's been following you around. You're listening to the part of you that whispers, "There has to be something else. There has to be more than this." That kind of awareness is not a weakness, it is a profound strength. It takes immense courage to stop, to get quiet, and to listen to that inner voice, especially when it's telling you to do something scary, like walk away from everything you've known. Most people spend their entire lives ignoring that voice. They numb it with distractions, with busyness, with 1,000,001 reasons why they can't change. But you're choosing to listen. That act of listening is an act of self-love. It's a declaration that your happiness matters. Your peace of mind matters. Your authenticity matters more than any external validation or pre-written life plan. When you start to see changing your mind as an act of listening rather than an act of quitting, the entire narrative shifts. You're no longer a failure who gave up. You're a wise person who is navigating life with intention, courage, and a deep connection to your own truth. You're not lost. You're just off the map, creating your own path. And that's where the most beautiful adventures begin. In the end, you don't need to justify every change you make to everyone around you. You don't need a perfectly crafted speech to explain why something no longer fits or why you're choosing a different direction. You are allowed to choose again. You can do it softly, quietly, without a grand announcement. You can do it even if you don't have a clear next step mapped out. Sometimes the most important step is simply the one you take away from what's no longer right. The clarity about what's next will come later once you've created the space for it. Trust that process. Trust yourself. Sometimes changing your mind is how you come back to yourself. It's how you find your way home. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more videos on living a more authentic life.